everyone, welcome to Hump Day Happy Hour, hosted by Dentists in the Know. This is the webcast where dentistry meets real talk, real news, and just the right amount of sarcasm. We are pulling back the curtain on the industry. We're talking to the experts, the educators, the innovators, and the everyday clinicians who are out there doing the work. There's no fluff, there's no filter, and there's definitely no sales pitches disguised as education. If it's happening in dentistry, from clinical insights to regulatory curveballs, or maybe it's the latest scandal at the ADA, we're probably already talking about it. And yes, we are bringing the goods. Doesn't matter if you're a seasoned doc, anyone in the dental industry for that matter, or maybe you're just a curious consumer. Maybe you're just here for the banner. Anyway, we welcome you all to the show, because around here, we're not just in the loop, we are in the know. Hey there, everyone. This is Dr. Jeff Horowitz, and I am accompanied by two of my best friends in the world, two amazing clinicians and business owners, Dr. Chad Duplantis and Dr. Jennifer Bell. Together, the three of us created this humble little platform to make the dental world a little smaller, but a whole lot more fun. Today, we have a really interesting topic, because this is something that we don't want to think about, but we always have to think about. And that's infection control protocols and procedures for the office. So today we have a guest that's going to talk about a whole new take on infection control. Lane Bourland, who Dr. Chad Duplantis was nice enough to introduce to the Dinks, is going to be with us. We have a program today called Closing the Gap about infection control. Dr. Duplantis has implemented some of this stuff in his office, and I think this is going to be a really interesting conversation. So happy to see everyone together. Good to see your shining faces. How are my friends?
Wonderful.
What did you do last weekend?
I was in Charleston, South Carolina.
You were?
Maybe you've heard of it?
Yeah, what happened there?
Yeah, there was a wedding there.
There what?
There was a young boy that got married to a young lady.
A young lady?
Yeah.
Well,
and
it was great.
His name was Horowitz.
Yeah. So for the Dinks, for everyone out there, we any opportunity that we have to be together is always cherished. And this weekend, Chad flew out from Texas, and Jennifer came down from North Carolina, and they helped my family celebrate the wedding of our youngest son, Joel, to his new bride, Rachel. So that was kind of exciting. It was great to see y'all. Great to have you meet some of my family and some of our friends. But what's been going on in your world since you got back? That was the excitement last weekend. What's happening this week?
JB, go first.
Well, you go first, because I've got a mic issue, please.
You got a mic issue?
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe we don't want to hear you anyway. Maybe we did it.
Maybe Mike needs
Maybe the news is no good today.
Does Mike need to go home?
No.
Okay.
Is it that Hunt boy?
Yeah. So my week's been pretty great. You know, it was this weekend was one of those weekends, like most of my travel lately has been for work. So it's been like go, and you come back on Monday and you're like, good Lord, I need a rest. This weekend was fantastic, man. I mean, you know, when we weren't hanging with you, we were eating.
Her mic's working now.
JB and Brian talk. And but no, we were eating and drinking our way through Charleston. And I will say, if you've never been to Charleston, it is just such a fantastic city. Just the nicest people, the most wonderful places to eat and drink and shop. And man, we just had a fantastic time. And spending time with friends is one thing. Spending time with family is another thing. Spending time with friends that are family is priceless.
Yeah, right.
And that's really what it was. I mean, you and I, dude, did we not have a great time playing golf on the crappiest golf course on Saturday morning?
Literally, I hit the clown's nose a few times.
I mean, we played on this golf course on Saturday morning that was totally under construction. It was like a pitch and putt.
But the cup, they were all temporary greens, right? And it was like putting on a 1970s shag carpet.
Yeah.
And so they made all the cups like a foot across.
Yeah. We played 9 holes. And for those of you that know golf, I shot a 35. Okay. Now I'm not that kind of golfer. And I also will never enter that into my handicap calculation because it was very, very, very different than the regular golf course. But dude, we had a freaking great time. It was me and Jeff and Jeff's cousin. We were the old guys. And then we had all the groomsmen behind us. And we were playing for money. And we beat their asses.
Do we condone that on Dennis in the Know? I think we do.
Yeah, we beat their asses.
Yeah.
But we can condone it. You know why?
Because we won?
Well, because we won, but all we really want is bragging rights. Because I didn't see.
I didn't see shit from that.
I had it all calculated. We were each due $80, and it never happened.
And it would have helped because somebody was ordering Pappy Van Winkle at the rehearsal party, so I could have used the $80.
You could have used the $80. And by the way, that was a hell of a rehearsal party. Yeah. And I had the bartender's ear. So when Jeff and Jenny wanted something, I just walk up to him and I'd go, the 2 people that are paying for this want a Negroni. She wants Cosmo. She wants a dirty martini. He was like, dude, it was awesome.
It was just fun. It was
a lot of fun.
It was just a great weekend all around. And yeah. Oh, hi Ben.
Hi Ben.
Hi, Ben.
Hi Ben.
Bye, Ben.
Bye,
Ben.
Ben.
So JB, give us the update. What's happening over there in Holly Springs? You look a little dismayed.
I'm annoyed.
Yeah. I can't even tell that on your face. I can never tell when something's on your mind, ever.
I'm a bit of an open book. My face says it all. Well, so first off, I'm sorry for my audio. Once we went live, I don't think I can change it. Second, my son likes to borrow my office because it's a great office for recording. And a lot of times I come back and the things aren't where they're supposed to be and hooked up and connected.
Hey Chad, how glad are you to not be Ben right now?
Yeah.
Although I've been Ben in Jennifer's world.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, but okay. Needless to say, one of the things I'm very happy about, and this is going to sound very dumb, it has rained 3 days in a row here in Holly Springs. And we haven't had rain in 4 months. So kind of a big deal. My garden is very happy.
Well, we went from not having to water our yards to the rain stopping on a Friday, and now all of our yards are dead.
Are you serious? I guess it's so hot, yeah.
So hot and dry. It is crazy. Crazy. But one thing I noticed, and this has happened to me before, but as we were leaving Charleston on Saturday, there was a deluge. And we're driving to the airport. The roads all flooded. We had a hard time getting to the airport. We had a hard time getting out. But I guess you all had been in a very severe drought over that way. And it hit hard on Saturday, of course, right before our flight. And, everybody was mad at American Airlines, but there were thunderstorms in Dallas, thunderstorms.
Yeah, what are you going to do? I mean,
I don't think it was the airline's fault this time.
It's traveling in the summer, too. You just kind of know that's
you got to know that's happening in the afternoon in the South, for sure.
So I'm going to throw a little wrench in that I'd rather do the news maybe offline so I can record it with better audio.
Okay, that's fine.
So,
not a problem at all. We can get
Chad,
right to
we were going to talk a little bit about maybe an interesting topic that we hear a lot from our patients.
And what would that topic be? Because I sent them.
Such a tease.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What do we want to talk about?
Whitening. I think.
Oh, There we go. Let's
Yeah,
talk
I
about
think-
whitening. Are we going to talk about it tonight?
Well, so here's the thing. I think the one thing that is really important maybe to put out there is it does work. As best we know, based on the research, it's not dangerous to structure. It can hurt you, but it's usually reversible. And what I say to patients a ton is there's so many products on the market today that I don't know which ones, especially if they're consumer facing, which ones really work and which ones don't work. But the one thing that I do know that doesn't work, categorically does not work.
What's that?
The light.
The light. Oh, it's funny that you say that, because that is the biggest thing. The light has been the gimmick of whitening, and the heat can definitely make some of the sensitivity worse. Just especially if you're using a high-powered lamp, is that people may experience more sensitivity during or immediately after the procedure, but there is no evidence that we're getting any more effect from the whitening.
You're getting dehydration.
Yeah.
And you do get an immediate effect, but it is not a whitening effect. It's a drying effect.
It's
dehydration, right.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny that you talk about this because, earlier today we were talking about our next consumer-facing topic, and we threw a bunch out there. And I think whitening is a fantastic topic. I'm so glad we chose this. But a couple years ago, I was asked to do a presentation on whitening. And I mean, yes, we've all whitened done in our office, but who here can say, I've done a presentation entirely on whitening?
Absolutely
I had
not.
to a couple years ago. So whenever I'm given a presentation, I take it wholeheartedly and I do a deep dive. And so I've got a lot of answers for this. And there's a lot of studies out there on whitening, on what works, what doesn't work, how it works, on sensitivity, what creates sensitivity. And the moral of the story is that the majority of the professional whitening products that we use in our practice all work about the same. It's just a matter of time. And that's not time it takes to whiten teeth. It's time that it takes for you to apply it to your teeth. And so there's a lot of really interesting stuff that I'll pull up from that when we go to this consumer-facing topic. But I did a real deep dive on it. And I personally found it fascinating. The only thing that I got wrong in that presentation is there's basically one dentist that has done all of this research on whitening. And I thought
he was out of Georgia, wasn't he?
He was out of Georgia.
Yep.
No, I thought UNC has all the papers on whitening.
Well, the guy that I found was out of Georgia.
Yeah.
And
they moved down. I think they may have moved down. Was it Hyman?
I would agree, because I got called out after the lecture and I was like, no, his last post was at UNC. And they were like, no, he was out of Georgia. I believe his first name was Van.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, it was fascinating data that I found, and I'll pull that up and I'll review it again. But every time, I don't know about you all, but this is a great kind of segue for a second here before we get laying on. Whenever you're given a task with a presentation and you do a deep dive, does it make you feel like so much better about providing that service within your
teaching office? Is the best educational tool, because you 100%. Gotta know it, right? It makes you a better learner. If you're, to be a good teacher, you have to be a good learner. And that's the piece that I've always loved about education, is it's made me go even deeper than I may have gone if I were only on the clinical side.
Well, like I tell everybody, you got to be prepared for the questions. And if you're not prepared for the questions, you weren't prepared to teach the class.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I will come up with a list of questions, and it's very few times that I've been stumped. And if I am stumped, I'm like, you know what? I don't know the answer, but I will find it for you. And I think people appreciate that too. So anyways.
Okay. I just want to put it on the record so we're all on the same page. It was Van Haywood, which I knew that's who it was, but I wanted to double check my references. He was at UNC along with Dr. Harold Hyman. They wrote the first paper back in 97 on whitening and sort of built a tremendous amount of literature.
Yes.
Van Haywood is now, or at least as of the posting of this bio, which you never know how accurate these things are, but with the Augusta University.
Yeah, that's what I got stumped on, because whatever I
Yeah.
said, the attendee was very quick to correct me, and I was like, no, but he was there. But yeah, really fascinating data. So I'll be happy to dig that up, and we'll look through it, and I'll have it as a reference for the entire conversation that we have that night.
Yep, that would be
Awesome. I look forward to that. This is an interesting topic, and it's actually
I
something
just
that's
pulled
pretty.
up this one thing. He did over 90 publications on whitening.
Yeah.
Oh, he's definitely the most published, and we also get to talk about urea.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not urine, urea.
Cool.
Did I do it again?
Yeah, urea. Mm-hmm.
Great.
Okay.
Can't wait.
Well, you had a first-hand account of that this weekend, didn't you, Chad?
Shut up. I pee a lot, okay?
A lot.
A lot. Yes. It's a nervous condition that I have. That's my anxiety coming out.
Hey, you know what I
Can't
think
wait
we
till
should
we
do?
combine that with a prostate condition. It's gonna be
Yeah.
awesome.
Hey,
He just likes
can I
the
bring our
exams.
guest on? Or
I think
no?
we should bring our guest on. It's going
All right.
downhill.
But anyway, so let me tell you a little story about Lane. So I was at this conference in South Texas last year, and there were these guys from this MCS infection control, and there was this dude, and I hope he's watching tonight. Is Bart watching?
Yeah, I guarantee you he's watching.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you right now. There's this dude, and I go, who is that old guy at the table next to us, man? And they're like, I don't know. It's some guy that practices in Abilene. So anyways, I knew that I knew him. And Bart, I'm sorry, I'm calling you old, but I'm right there with you, brother. I hadn't seen you in 30 years. So anyways, the next day, this guy introduces himself and he says, hey, I'm Bart Bourland. And I'm like, oh my God. Jeff and JB, if you could pick an upperclassman from dental school who you just idolized, you were like, this guy is the guy, he's solid, or the gal, whoever it is, they're solid, they know what they're doing. That's who I want to be when I'm a senior in life. That was Bart Bourland.
That's cool.
And so he introduces himself. I'm like, oh my God, I remember you from dental school. And then we connected and we started talking about old connections and stuff. And he introduces me to his son. And I meet this kid, Lane. And I'm going to call you a kid because, dude, don't be upset about that. You are a kid, and be a kid as long as you can. This young man over here is just as solid as his dad. He's the way I remember his dad 30 years ago. He knows what he's doing, and he starts telling me about this company. So anyhow, fast forward a couple of weeks later, Lane and my representative from Midwest Dental come into my office, and they start talking to me about MCS. And I learned about Lane's position in his dad's dental practice, but Lane was also a college baseball player. He's got a lot of pedigree about him. He had all these great things that he had done through life, and he started working for his dad, managing his dad's practices. And one of the problems they had was turning over rooms, high volume practice. And so they started talking to me about this infection control system. And when I knew Bart, and then I met Lane, they could have been selling ice, and I could have been an Eskimo, and I would have bought it. Because you know what? Those are the type of people that you buy from. And in Texas, when you got somebody that comes in that's good people, and you know what they're selling is a solid product, you buy it. And so I'm going to let Lane talk to us about the product that they're pushing for dental offices. But I was sold within the first 5 minutes of that conversation. It's been one of the best things we instituted in our practices over the past several years. Am I making money off of it? Maybe a little, but it's definitely a break even as far as raw cost is concerned. But it's more so a peace of mind, and we'll get into the depth of it later. But Lane, it's an honor to have you, and tell us a little bit about your upbringing in dentistry before we get to MCS.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And it goes both ways. When I got to meet you down south last year, and then Scott Bolt, your Midwest Dental representative. Scott and I, Scott is good people, and he's introduced me to a ton of great people, and you being one of them. So it's been a great partnership. I appreciate that. But yeah, you pretty much nailed it on the head. Didn't go into dentistry per se. Growing up in the dental practice, my dad he's a great dentist. I actually have y'all talking about whitening strips. You can check it out. I have my Zoom whitening strips with me here. There you go. But,
there you go.
No, he's a great dentist, but a really good businessman, and that's something, unfortunately, they don't really teach you guys in school, how to run a business. So he was always really good at that, and we always found ourselves talking about business rather than dentistry. So yeah, I went on to get a business degree. Didn't feel like wearing a suit and tie the rest of my life, but it so happened that he had a couple of dental practices in Abilene, and so I got to join him and my uncle, his brother, and learn dentistry, learn how to manage the office kind of from the ground up. So I started as a sterile tech. Worked the front desk as reception. I was checkout. Did pretty much everything except being a dental assistant. All the compliance and everything else, and running the budgets and ordering and you name it, HR, all that fun stuff.
So you started that, and then now you move past that, and you're on to something completely different. So let's go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. Tell us about MCS and where that all started.
All right. Well, the main office the way we came about this was really during the COVID year, right? When that hit, everything kind of changed. We started having to put in different processes and didn't really know what to do. We were very reactive rather than proactive in our disinfecting approach. And one of the main offices we were managing was a large pediatric dental office. And out in Abilene, Texas, we were really the only group out there serving the pediatric community. And so we were seeing about 120 kids a day on average. So as you can imagine, being efficient was the name of the game. And obviously keeping the place clean, because if you have kids come through your practice, you know that they're touching everything, they're licking stuff. It can get real nasty real fast. And so we started asking some harder questions, coming up with a way to disinfect our clinical areas, but also our non-clinical areas, our reception, bathroom, countertops, you name it. So we came out with a disinfectant that does what a cavi wipe does. I think we're all familiar with cavi wipes and the reasons we have to use them in our practices. But we needed something that lasted longer term, or that was the ask at the time. So we created a disinfectant that is both non-toxic, and it lasts for 90 days. So it's EPA registered to last for 90 days. So any bacteria virus that is landing on your surfaces in your office are killed on contact.
All right. So how do you measure this?
Well, that's the big deal. And when I came into your office, I kind of asked you a few of those questions. And so we came out with some different kind of swab testing to verify. And that's one of the gaps. Kind of the name of this episode is Closing the Gap. I don't know. Have you guys ever had your surfaces tested in your dental practice? Yeah.
I'm afraid.
Don't be afraid. You don't know what you don't know yet. And that's kind of the reason we test, right? We assume we're all doing a great job, and I'm sure you are. And your assistants and hygienists are doing the absolute best they can. But they're human, and we get behind schedule and things happen and we miss. So being able to verify that we're actually doing the job correctly, we came out with a couple of different swabs. I have some in my hand here. They kind of look like this. And we simply swab surfaces. And we are testing for bacteria and viruses on those surfaces to verify that that disinfectant is working. Not only in your clinical areas, on areas such as your chair, your air water syringe. I'll share that right now. Your air water syringe, unfortunately, about 90% of the offices I go into, I test that air water syringe, and it is the dirtiest in the office.
Yeah. What about the telephones at the front office? I imagine they're pretty dirty.
That is one of our hot spots as well. As you can imagine, it's right up next to the mouth, and multiple people are using it day in and day out.
When I first got into dental school in don't say it, JB, it's not 1930 something. When I got into dental school though, I started in 1987, and that was kind of a really crazy time with AIDS and HIV. So everybody was just kind of freaked out, almost like they were during the COVID thing. And so one of the first things that they had us do was to go around and culture, different things around, the building and in the office, just to get an idea of, how bacteria works, and what some of the maybe lesser understood areas are that bacteria like to flourish. And so, of course, the first place most people go to swab is like the toilet and stuff like that. And what was interesting was the worst or the most bacterial growth came from, and at the time there were still a lot of cuspidors, the little spit things on the chairs, and that would get either sprayed down or wiped down, or they would run bleach through it or whatever. Regardless, in the clinic, that was by far the dirtiest thing. So I can imagine that air water tip kind of being the same way, and in close proximity, that even if you think you wipe it down well, the toilet had nothing to the cuspidor. Like, it was not even close. So not surprised to hear that.
No, I don't test toilets typically, but we do test the bathroom door handles, and
Yeah.
it always throws people for a loop when we show them that their air water syringe is dirtier than their bathroom door handle.
Yeah. You need to test it against the toilet, because I'm telling you, that was pretty amazing.
Lane and I were talking last week, and I'm going to let him know. I'm going to let him share with you the 3 triggers. But you were talking about testing. So, Lane, real quick, what is the unit? Do you have the device that you use to test? Okay, what is it called?
This is called a luminometer. So, as you were saying, Dr. Horowitz, you would have to, create a culture, let that grow for a period of time, however long that might have been, many days, I would assume. Kind of created a device and some swabs to where we rapidly incubate. We get tests either in 10 seconds or as late as 7 hours. So we rapidly incubate a couple. But one of them, this first one we test for is called ATP. That stands for adenosine triphosphate. And that is simply the food source for bacteria and viruses. You guys might remember it from school. It is the energy source within our own cells. And so bacteria and viruses, being living life forms, they need ATP to grow and colonize. So we're testing the amount of ATP. So swabbing that door handle, swabbing that air water syringe, etc. And then this luminometer, as Dr. Planus was asking about, it looks kind of like a glorified cell phone, but we pop the top on that, simply drop that swab in, hit the correct button, and in 10 seconds we get a test result.
Let's test something in your hotel room.
I should have prepared for that. I did not prepare.
Remote control.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm going to be an open book, and I'll tell you all. Well, the first thing that I want to tell you all is I found out something very fascinating. So Vista Apex is they have a lot of restorative products, but they have a lot of endodontic products. They have a new product called the Endocator. And so what they're using the Endocator for is they're taking a measurement of the bacterial content after they've cleaned a root canal. They take it, they place it into a luminator or whatever the hell it's called, and they measure the exact same way that they measure the bacteria on our surfaces at the office. So this is something that's starting to be used in dentistry in addition to for infection control. And so if you think about it, I thought that was really cool that they're using the exact same machine that Lane's using to come measure our offices. So anyways, Lane comes out to our office and he measures everything. And I mean, when they come out to your office, they spend a lot of time in your office. They measure the surfaces of several rooms. They switch it up and measure different things in different rooms. But then they also measure your water lines, the bacterial content of your water lines. However, he was blown away with one of our rooms as to how clean it was. And I will tell you that we follow all the protocol. We do everything that we need to in our office to make sure that it's very, very safe. But you can't control what grows after you cleaned it. So the thing that turned me towards this product was two spots. One, the arm of the chair in my personal office was absolutely off the charts disgusting. The second thing was the counter where all of our patients check out. The third, if I had to add a third, was the bathroom handle in the waiting area. Those three things right there, I was like, it had nothing to do with the treatment rooms. The treatment rooms were fine. They were all acceptable. It was the areas that weren't in the treatment rooms. And so what made my mind start reeling was, if I do this, I'm not only helping our patients and I'm helping our team turn over the rooms, but I'm also helping our team in terms of health throughout the year. That's the first thing that crossed my mind. If I could eliminate sick days. So we ran all of the numbers on what it was going to cost me. We were slightly ahead by switching to Lane's product. Now, some offices, I'm not going to tell you that any offices are going to be behind. I'm not going to say that this is going to cost you more money, but we were slightly ahead, almost a break even, as far as what we're spending on infection control products in our operatories versus what we're spending on MCS. Where it really sold me, though, was not the front office, my personal office, but it also wear and tear on the equipment, because capital wipes are not good on the equipment. So Lane and I were talking last week at lunch, and he came up with 3 trigger points for practices. And Lane, feel free to share those whenever you're wanting to. But I thought this was fantastic.
Well, that's a big one. And I know what you've done in your practice, Dr. Duplantis. So if it's okay, I'll ask a question. Do you guys know what kind of wipes y'all use in your practices? Is it Cavi wipes, Optum wipes, something like that?
Yeah, we just switched to something else though.
We were
that was
Optum
less
at the
personal.
time.
We're Optum.
Optum is what we were using, yeah.
And you probably switched to Optum because it is better for your equipment. Is that what you heard?
Their concern was more carcinogenic. Like the team was looking for something that was a little safer for them to use.
Absolutely. So that's the other side of it. Like you said, Dr. Duplantis, it's a safety for your staff who are touching that and using it all day, every day. If you read the backside of some of those Cavicide bottles and things like that, we all know, or at least we think we know, we're supposed to use gloves when we use those wipes.
Yeah, but that's not very effective.
That doesn't always happen, right?
No, and I do a lot of training, and I always ask them, like, we use gloves, right? And most people say yes, and I get one person every now and then that's like, no, not always.
Yeah.
Because we're in a hurry. We gotta rush and get that next patient and then share. But those bottles actually say you're supposed to use goggles and a mask just to handle a wipe because of the carcinogen effect.
Yeah.
And then the biggest one for our family, managing and owning a couple of dental practices, is your equipment. Those dental equipment is very expensive, and you've probably seen it over the years. Your hoses start to turn yellow. They start to fade and crack. Your chairs, your leather might start to crack. Different plastics, even paint will start chipping off of your equipment because of those wipes that we're supposed to use. And what's interesting is a lot of your manufacturers, your chair manufacturers like Midmark and ADEC and people like that, again, you go read the fine print, they will actually void your warranty on a lot of your equipment if you use certain disinfectants that are not registered to use with their equipment. So that was a big deal. It's a big question mark we put on your cost analysis, Dr. Duplantis, that I just circle, because can we make that up somehow? Well, of course, your dental equipment is gonna take a beating. using those cavi wipes over and over. And so that's the recommendation we make, is once we implement this service and this disinfectant that is lasting for 90 days, it is good against all your bloodborne pathogens, which is what we're concerned about in dental, right? Your Hep B, Hep C, HIV, all those things. Hep B can actually live on your surfaces for up to 7 days, right? So once those things, blood lands on a surface that has been disinfected by us at MCS and our disinfectant, it's killed immediately on contact. So it's really giving you that full blanket coverage, because as I mentioned earlier, we are human and we're going to miss. It's going to happen. So it gives you that extra protection there.
So I'm just going back to something that you said earlier, Chad, because, you know, when you look at cost analysis on anything in the office, there are direct costs, like what does this cost me versus what I'm using now? But then there's the indirect cost. What does it cost if you go out, Chad, because you're sick? And when you talk about your armrest on your chair in your office, because you're laying your arms, you know, all over the place at the front desk and in the rooms, and something didn't get the right contact wipe, and now you're bringing it to that chair in your office, what does it cost you 1 day out of the practice? And now, you know, figure that into your cost analysis, and then start adding when your team can't be there, when your primary assistant, when your hygienist, you know, is missing a full day. Those are the real costs. Yeah, of course, equipment, but, you know, we can fix that and we can handle that. But the human cost is really, you know, that's our biggest overhead in the office. And it's also the thing that takes away from production more than anything else, is when one of us can't be there because we're sick.
100%. I mean, yeah. So Lane, go ahead on that, bud.
I was going to say, here's a Bartism for you, the great Bart Bourland. He always says in all of our businesses, and always told me growing up and my sisters, is what is the number one thing you have to do in order to be successful? And that's show up.
Show up.
Yeah, show up.
Couldn't agree more.
Attitude was always the second thing. Show up with a good attitude.
Yeah, you know, and I know, and I'm going to tell you, I don't. How many days can you count that Bart showed up with a bad attitude?
Couple bad attitudes, but you know, he shows up regardless and does his best. But
sorry, Bart, that was the wrong answer from Lane.
Well, I see
he lobbed a grapefruit. Swing and a miss.
Yeah, swing and a miss. I lobbed it, Lane. I'm sorry, Bart. He screwed that one up. But no, you're right. And the thing is that this is all anecdotal on my end. But one of the things that I've noticed is that there has been less illness in our office since we've been doing this. And I think there's less contaminants that people come into contact with. It's truly been great for our office. And one of the things that I learned from you all was, you know, things that you don't think about is that, you know, like we talked about the damage to the equipment. We talked about the carcinogens. We had a spray bottle of Optum in the lab, and Lane was like, please, let's stop using that. You know, I mean, that's probably one of the worst ways, just to throw that, just let's create an aerosol of a carcinogen and just start throwing it in the air, you know? And so, and I'm, you know, that could be any cleanser that you're using, but things have really changed in our office. And you all also do a great job of training the team on what they need to do, what they should and shouldn't do. You know, we actually held off on running I believe it's Citrasil that we use through the Waterlines, so that we could get a testing. And you're like, no, run it through the Waterlines before we do the testing, and instead of the next morning, you know, and let's get an accurate testing of what you're doing and see how it's working. And so we've learned a lot. You all also offer infection control training for the teams, don't you?
We do. We partner with Smart Training. If you guys have heard of Smart Training, taking care of all your OSHA and HIPAA needs, kind of putting it all into one umbrella, because that's kind of the third and final piece to this, Dr. Duplantis, is once we take these test results with this device here and we're getting those bacterial counts, it's got to go somewhere. Where do we store that data? So it automatically syncs up to our online portal called Clean Command. And that is your portal that you have 24/7 access to. So when that state inspector, if he or she ever did come in your office and ask for your Waterline test results, which is the third test we do. And do you mind me sharing some of your test results, Dr.
I don't care. Go for it.
I won't say the exact number. We had a couple water test results when we first came in that were, we'll call it out of whack, right? And so we tested those water lines. We got an immediate test result. And what's neat about these, and I think Dr. Bell, you guys have talked about doing waterline testing in your office. I watched y'all's episode there. And you always had a concern with, is it passing? I can't necessarily tell. Is it pass fail? Are we in range? All these things. What I really like about these is it gives you an exact number. We are getting an exact CFU count level. So there's no guessing. There's no questions about it. We have to be under a 500 CFU count level within your dental water lines in order to be compliant. So with Dr. Duplantis, there were a few that were over 500. Some were, I think one was 513. And we go, okay, hey, that's not horrible. Let's use this product to knock it down, get it cleaned up and back to 0, which all your lines are at 0. I checked them before the podcast tonight. They're all at 0 as of our last service there. But one of your lines was way out of whack. And we advised you guys, let's hit that one a little harder. We really need to get that one cleaned up. The level was just a little too high for our liking. And so based on our data, we're able to make different decisions, on how to take care of those things. So I know you guys had a whole
FYI, that's a water line that's not used.
And that was it.
Yeah.
Water line sitting stagnant and still will start to build up over time. So they're all at 0 now, though. So that's great.
Yeah,
Okay.
we've had some great results.
Talk to me like I'm dumb, okay? And the boys will say it's because she's a girl, which is fair. The service that you offer, so you have a wipe product, you have a testing product, kind of like if I'm going to you for your service, break it down for me. What products, what services are you currently offering? What things are you taking? Like, are you coming in and doing all the water testing and then the staff isn't having to do that? Like, help me understand the value prop.
Absolutely. So there's no product that you purchase. I don't ship product or anything like that. It is a full service model.
Okay.
So my whole goal is to take the workload off of you guys and off of your dental assistants and your hygienists. What's funny is my assistants and hygienists that work for me, a lot of them could actually care less that we had 0 bacterial and viruses on our surfaces. They cared that it lessened their workload and they got to go get a drink of water, go to the bathroom, check their phone for their kids, make sure their kids are doing okay, things like that. But as far as the full service, we are EPA registered and approved for 90 days on our disinfectant. So we come in and we spray our disinfectant everywhere in the facility, both non-clinical and clinical areas like we mentioned a second ago. That is a non-toxic disinfectant that bonds to the surface and lasts for that 90 days. And you cannot rub it off. And I can give you all the EPA tests that we had to do to kind of prove that effectiveness. So that is lasting for 90 days, working around the clock for you. Every 90 days when we come in, we do a full round of pre-testing because I want to make sure that disinfectant 90 days later is still working. We then reapply the disinfectant and actually do a round of post-testing before I leave for the next 90 days to make sure we're still at 0 microbial levels. So every 3 months, we're coming into the practice doing pre-testing, reapplying that disinfectant, and doing post-testing. And that testing involves both surfaces and your water lines. So we do it all for you. So we kind of use this testing technology that we talked about tonight to do both the surface testing and your water line testing. And turning that around within 24 hours, because the last thing we want is for you to have to wait a week to get test results. If you had a dirty water line, for instance, well, we don't want to use that chair for a whole week when it's out of compliance. We need to know now. So that was the other big kicker during COVID. We needed test results. We need to know what's going on our surfaces, and we need to know now. Yeah.
So then in the interim, the team is using their normal sterilization protocols, their normal wipes, normal water bottle management, all of that type of stuff doesn't change, or it does change?
Pretty much. I changed a little bit on the surface testing. Your waterline protocols stay the same as long as
it's working.
As
Yeah.
long as it's working, right? If it's not
Yeah.
working, we need to add some different processes into the facility. But as far as surfaces go, our disinfectant, as I mentioned earlier, takes care of all your bloodborne pathogens. Therefore, we can eliminate your cavi wipes or your Optum wipes that are really harsh on your equipment and for your people, right? So what we recommend, and I don't sell wipes, I'm not in the wipe business, but your partners in Midwest or Atlanta Dental, people like that, they're starting to carry simple disinfectant wipes such as a Clorox wipe, something that is much more cost effective, but also safer for your people to grab with their bare hand and to use on your equipment. And there's a couple of different
It's a medical grade Clorox wipe that we're using. It's like Clorox Healthcare or something like that. It's a different, but it's awesome.
Yeah, and so there's certain areas, and then there's certain equipment, as Dr. Puentes mentioned earlier. The hardest part about what I do, the technology works 100% of the time, and that's great. Hardest part is the education. I'm really in the education business, going in and training staff on how to look at turning over a room a little differently. And really what that involves is using a different wipe. That doesn't really change, just a different wipe. But I want to reduce wiping by about 50%, because the surfaces are already disinfected. But if there's blood and saliva on a chair, we need to wipe and clean that up, right? So really, I'm rechanging the mindset a little bit, which is difficult to do. People don't always like change. But I'm teaching optical cleaning. If it looks dirty, we need to wipe it and clean it.
Hey, Lane, let me tell you something.
Not to disinfect.
If you could announce, just make it your marketing slogan, reducing wiping by 50%. I'm telling you, you would sell a lot more.
I don't think so.
And I see the faces, and whenever I
don't think that's a good marketing slogan.
Well, that's funny. I always look for the faces when I do these trainings, and I call people out for it. And so it happens, and that is something we deal with. I'll tell you the quick story. One of my hygienists, Nina, she's awesome, super smart, goes to all the big hygiene shows and CE trainings every year. And when we implemented this into our office, she gave me that same look, Dr. Bell, arms crossed, like, no, this is.
So I just meant reduces wiping. I just think maybe we shouldn't be using that phrase. That's all.
Right.
It can be misinterpreted, and I am all about personal hygiene as much as I am about operatory hygiene.
Yes.
I think Dude Wipes is using that already anyway.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good one. We should try some Dude Wipes.
Yeah.
I will tell you that, and I hope that some of our team is watching tonight. I know we were talking about it today. Right now, when you sign up for MCS, what you see is what you get. You get Lane, and then you get people that come in and actually do the service, but you get Lane, and everybody there has been amazing. But the buy-in from my team, it's been huge. There was a little resistance at first, just like, why are we doing this? Why are we changing the way we do things? And now it's just huge. As far as our office, we're not extremely high production. I'm not going to lie to you and say that it's saved a boatload of time. But for us, that's not what it was about. I already told you what it was about. It was about, the illness, and about just controlling the areas that we don't attend to as religiously as we do the operatories. And, when they come into our office, I mean, I suggest that you leave, like I leave shoes at the office because I change at the office every day. I leave the shoes out. If my cell phone's there, it's out, it's faced up. My computer's open, my keyboard's out. Everything that you want cleaned, it's not going to harm anything. Let it go. Scanners, cameras, things that you just don't think about, leave them out there. Such a peace of mind. Just things that hey, now we have confidence that this is clean when we touch it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned your dental chair earlier, your personal office chair.
Yes.
We test that on purpose because the male doctors do this, the females don't, Dr. Bell. But the male dogs, they eat their lunch there, they pick their nose there, and they never clean their own chair, right? And they go to every operatory and bring it all back to that one central spot. And so that is the main reason why we test that one location, because you guys are a little dirty in your own office.
Yeah, I probably would fail that one too.
Lane, I would appreciate you not throwing me under the bus. Why don't you have your wife test the bathroom that you use, bro?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
I said, why don't you have your wife test the bathroom that you use?
He probably treats it with MCS, so it's fine.
My house.
I'm still waiting for Jennifer's suggestion. I want to start testing some stuff in that hotel room right now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm in Austin today. Sorry, I'm in a hotel room. I'm in Austin. And as you mentioned, everyone has their different pain points, whether it's equipment and overall health. But today, what I found in Austin, everyone was really concerned about the health of using those cavi wipes and trying to find different alternatives.
Yeah.
3 of the 4 offices I visited are all using Ozone. We've probably heard about Ozone. They're using it in their homes, everywhere, after every single patient, going above and beyond in that regard. But none of them are able to prove its effectiveness. And I just don't know until we test.
What about all the hypochlorous we were using during COVID and misting? And
yeah, it's another great option. It does a great job disinfecting, just like alcohol or hydrogen peroxide. What makes it different than what we use is it's still a one-time fix.
Right.
So you disinfect that surface, next patient sits down, it's dirty again, and you got to reapply.
And unless you're hitting every single surface and spending the time.
Exactly.
Lane, I'm gonna throw something out there that might trigger dentists. Is your product a water-based polymer?
Yeah.
So really, really interesting. I'm bringing this up because there's a new product on the market that is a fluoride varnish that is completely different than the other fluorides. Nobody gives a crap as to what it does, what it is, and everything. Why is it so great? When you throw out the words water-based polymer, everybody's like, oh, it's a polymer. Dentists understand resin technology. When you talk about a water-based polymer and why it adheres to the surface, it's a whole new ballgame. And that's why this works, is because it's a water-based polymer. It's going to adhere and it's going to have a nice contact with the surface. And the polymer part means it's going to stay. And so that's really important that you all stress that, because dentists get tickled by this resin technology stuff, but the polymer I think that's huge for what you're doing, because when you incorporate that, we know that it's going to adhere and it's going to stay.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Absolutely.
I think you ought to go with space age polymer.
Space age polymer technology.
Yeah.
We use this to disinfect the space shuttle.
Yeah.
So, that's good too.
Ronco used it.
Yeah. So Lane, what other industries are you all working towards right now?
Dental is kind of the bread and butter. It's what we know growing up, but also dental we're worried about those bloodborne pathogens. We just got a lot more going on in dental. I mean, you guys are doctor of dental surgery. If you're a DDS, right? You guys are literally doing surgery on every single patient. We're cutting. It's much more prevalent. Other industries that we're also taking care of, though, are medical practices. Veterinary clinics. Veterinary clinics are a big one. They're all concerned with parvo. If you're familiar with parvo's the puppy killer.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So on our efficacy sheet, we kill parvo. So that's a big deal for our veterinarians, as well as nursing homes. I got called into a nursing home a few months ago. Unfortunately, 20 of their residents were in the hospital with the flu. And so they called me on a Sunday night. We got them taken care of the next day, visited them 3 months later, redid testing. Everything was great, and asked, hey, has anyone else gotten sick? And they said, no, everyone has been great the last 3 months. As well as daycares. Daycares are yucky.
Oh. Yeah.
I'm curious, do you have any statistics about the efficacy, like for C. diff? That's such a you just made me think about that with when you talked about nursing homes, and that's the first thing that went through my mind is, the that is just so communicable. And if you have something that's lasting on surfaces that is killing bacteria on contact, that's pretty remarkable. And I almost feel like more hospitals and emergency rooms ought to be using something like this.
They are starting to, and yes, sir, it takes care of that. The big deal in the nursing homes and assisted living facilities is they have handrails everywhere for the residents to
Yeah.
walk, because they just walk.
I heard it was gonorrhea too.
And gonorrhea.
Not testing for that quite yet. Take care of all those handles is what I'm concerned about. I'll let
That's how you get the gonorrhea.
Yeah.
You missed that. That just went over everybody's head. Taking care of the handles. Yeah, never mind.
Gross. We didn't miss it. We ignored it.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe that's fair. That's fair.
Is that okay to say?
I
did you
do
go
have one
into
other
the black
question.
hole?
So, where all are you available right now? Like if someone is interested, what areas are you servicing right now, and where are you looking to expand next primarily?
Yes, sir. Primarily, we're in kind of the growth and scale phase of our business right now, which is a lot of fun. All of Texas, we are currently servicing all of Texas from the very tip, southern border, which is where I met Dr. Duplantis, literally down there in McAllen, Texas, all the way through Amarillo, but Oklahoma, New Mexico, Kansas City, and North and South Dakota. So really kind of that middle third of the country currently.
Have you all disinfected Mount Rushmore?
I have not gotten to make my way up to the Dakotas yet, but my team goes up there and they brace the cold winters servicing those offices. It's crazy. They send me videos and it's snowing, and I'm here in Texas and it's 100 degrees. But
well, I'd love to get you out this way and certainly introduce you to the Atlanta dental folks and maybe get you started in the Southeast here as well. I think this is an incredible product. I think that there's so much opportunity, and if we can put the data behind what you're doing, which obviously we can, I think that's pretty remarkable. And again, it's not about, okay, what does X product cost me versus Y? It's really the long-term effect of the service that you're providing, reducing stress on the team, reducing illness amongst the team, as well as the primary providers, the doctors. And quite honestly, just from a selfish perspective, like we have a whole medical office building where there is a waiting room where, people are going into the dental office, they're coming out to the waiting room, they're going back into the dental office, they're going up to the eye doctor, the conjunctivitis, there are just so many bugs that are right. It would just be nice. And I think it's nice for medical facilities to be able to brag about what they're doing to protect the public. I think that's a huge piece of healthcare right now that a lot of people are missing the boat on, but not you, Lane.
That's a big one. When I was managing that pediatric practice, I wanted every mama in our area to know that our office was safe and non-toxic. Please bring your kids in here, right? This is where you want to go. And so we provide the marketing package, if you will, for offices to share all of that information as well.
Lane, I need to get a hold of that, because I do think that that's a piece that you really need to hit on. I mean, we want our patients to know that everything that we do is for them. And this is really for them. I mean, yes, it's for us too. And like I said, it's anecdotal earlier. I don't know. I can't. I mean, I'm
sure your chair was filthy, Chad. I don't think that's just.
No,
I think there's science behind that.
That was, and so was the front desk. But hey, Ken's was too. So I'm throwing him under the bus. But the thing is that that I would love to be able to share that in an appropriate manner with the patients. And I'd also love for us to be able to look at sick days of team members year over year and figure out how we could attribute that to MCS. There's so many things that change from an annual basis, as far as why people get sick and what they get sick with, but that's going to be harder to prove. But I can tell you in my practice, I've certainly felt a lot more confident about what I'm doing for not only my patients, but my team.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyhow, any closing comments, Jeff, JB?
No, I'm excited to watch it grow.
Yeah,
I am too.
I
am too. Hey, Lane, could we get a couple sprays at my friend's offices here?
Let's do it. Absolutely.
There you go. That's the way we work a deal. All right.
Sounds like a drug deal. Can you come give us a couple spray? Just a couple.
Yeah, just a couple.
Just to get them hooked.
Just a squirt or two. Anyhow, folks, as we close tonight, I just want to say that dentists are traditionally an easy sale. They come show us things. We want new. We want improved. The longer we're in our careers, we become a bit of a harder sale. When this product entered my office, this is something that I was like, hey, I have to have. And I think that it's truly done wonders. And most importantly, it's a peace of mind. We know that we're doing everything that we can to protect our patients and our team. And that's what really sold me on it. You've got wonderful people behind the product. I didn't even mention Paul and Jeff, who are the brothers that are kind of the
original
founders, if you will, of this company. Bart and Lane came on. We've got a wonderful team that's working together to make this one fantastic product or offering for dental practices. And please look into MCS. And Lane, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. It's been great to meet you all, and great to kind of have a relationship with you, Dr. Duplantis. You're always there to answer my questions and help me out in my career in the dental industry. So I really do appreciate that.
You bet. Tell Bart to take me golfing soon.
Sure will. He's been practicing a lot, so I'd be curious to see how that
goes. Good. All right. Well, hey, thanks for being here tonight, and thanks everybody for watching. Appreciate it.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for being here.
Have a great night.
Okay. Thanks, Lane.
And that wraps up another podcast for Dentists in the Know. On behalf of Dr. Jennifer Bell, Dr. Chad Duplantis, and myself, remember that we've got a great profession, so let's make it a great day, Dinks.